esteemed pleasure of introducing to some and just presenting to others, because if y'all don't know her, where have you been? Get to know her. Dr. Lakeysha Hallmon, who we affectionately call Dr. Key, which is very cool. I could never shorten my name to sound cool like that. I'll figure it out. She is a proud Mississippi native whose vision and commitment have made her a force for good beyond our home state. She is a graduate of Tougaloo College. Tougaloo, y'all ain't here? Where y'all at? All right.
Let's go, Tougaloo.
I know it, Eagle Queen. I love y'all too. Who has built a career rooted in purpose, which is saying something. She's founded and she leads the Village Market in Atlanta. She creates spaces where Black entrepreneurs thrive and curates ecosystems that turn brilliance into legacy. Her book, if you don't have it, get it. No One is Self-Made is both a love letter and a call to action for us to nurture the relationships, resources, and resilience that sustain us all. As a sister Mississippian, I'm proud to share the stage with her. You all join me in welcoming home Dr. Key.
Thank you all so much for hanging out with us at 4 o'clock.
On a Saturday.
On a Saturday. You can be anywhere, but you chose to come and listen to Ebony and myself, and I'm very appreciative for that. As Ebony said, this is going to be a sisterhood conversation, and you all get to engage with us. Now, I'm a former educator, Ebony's a professor, so we like for y'all to talk back to us. Is that okay? Yeah. All right, cool. So remember, y'all said yes. Okay? All right.
Little call and response, oral tradition.
Call and response.
And you taught English,
I did.
Just watch out, okay? This is classes in session, and there will be a quiz immediately following the panel. Dr. Key, this book, No One is Self-Made. I want to talk about the origins first before we get into how much you cram into these few pages that really has been deeply inspirational. And I didn't expect to be as inspired because I'm not necessarily an entrepreneur, right? I don't consider myself in that vein, but there was so much richness here. But I want to talk about the moment or experience that motivated you to put into words and then put those words into the world, what you've done here.
Thank you for that question. So if I can take us back in time, it was only a few years ago. I was 6 years old. And one of my first memories for my mom is that I would sign her Mother's Day card, your future author. And it was future this, future that. Y'all, the list was long. I can say proudly, everything I wrote down I have become.
Manifested.
But I was 6 when I told my mother I was going to be an author. Now, I remember that was just a couple years ago. But what happened maybe 3.5, 4 years ago, I was approached by my literary agent. Her name is Rebecca. She heard me on a podcast, and she reached out to my friend whose podcast I was on, and she said, hey, can you please put me in contact with her? This woman needs to write books, plural. And if it's something that she is interested in, I have to be her agent. I have to work with her. Now, y'all know we live in a time of, is this real?
Yeah.
Is this the Instagram scam? Like, who is this? And so I asked my friend, Dr. Joy, who's the founder of Therapy for Black Girls, and she was like, now, let me tell you, she is my literary agent. I was like, wow. And so we got on a call together, and Rebecca said, if you had a book to write, what would it be? She's like, I have an idea. And I was like, I have to write a book that's about building the village. I have to write a book about being communal and collectivism, because that is the only thing that will save us. And she said, let's do it. And we went through the process of me having to do a brain dump of all the things that I want to say, all the things that mattered to me in this writing process. And that turned into my book proposal. And it took me maybe a year to write this book, and going through the editing another half of a year with that. But the process came by way of years of me evolving into who I am. I could not have written this book 10 years ago, though I saw it at 6. I had to grow. I had to evolve as a thinker. I had to evolve as a woman. I had to see the world. I also needed to experience some hardships, because the best books talk about pain in an empowering way, because it transforms us. And I also had to talk about the beloved people that I come from. I'm so proud to be a Mississippian. And so when I opened this book, I had to make sure that my grandmother's fingerprints was all over the pages, because their fingerprints are all over me. I had to make sure that my mother and father were all over the pages, because they were all over me. And that led me into all the chapters that I wrote. But everything began because when I spoke on the podcast, I was very vulnerable about freedom. I was very vulnerable about sisterhood and relationships. And because of that, Rebecca heard a book from me. And that started this process.
Y'all go ahead and clap. I mean, unless you just hear wisdom like that every day, right? This is pretty astounding. And that's what it feels like. Reading your book is so remarkably authentic. And as you talk about your grandmother's fingerprints and your parents, I swelled with pride reading these, what some might consider, right, these mundane moments that are really miraculous, right? That our people survived so much and created so much out of nothing. And it did for me, I'm gonna be very honest, what reading Jubilee by Margaret Walker did is that you can write this thing that matters from your world and from your life and from your identity. So I appreciate that. And you look like you were gonna say something. Okay. No. I just want to laud you for that, because the authenticity is there. I appreciate the way that you have packaged this sort of ideation that is pretty organic. It is your lived experience becomes the idea, and that is worthy. So I wonder about the process. If you were at any moment taken off guard or surprised at what poured from you when you sort of released the control and submitted to the moment.
Y'all, why is Ebony reading me right now?
Because you wrote the stuff.
I did. So I had no idea that this book would open me up the way that I did. There's two things I do faithfully every week. I go to therapy and I go to church.
Amen.
And in those moments, I feel the most free and liberated. I had no idea that this book would be spiritual and also therapeutic. I didn't know how much I was holding in privacy out of protection of people, out of protection of hard moments in business, in protection of a community that I love so much. I was holding these things. And the question that when I would get to certain chapters, chapter 5 in particular, where I had to write about hard experiences that I've had as an entrepreneur of color, leading a national business at this point that is operating in 33 different states with no entrepreneur experience. I would get to certain chapters and I was like, oh, I'm not writing that. Take that off. Then I would read
protecting.
Yes, because we protect the people that we love. We protect the people that we love, because the people that we love is often under attack. And I did not want my words to weaponize the community that I hold so dear. But I did want my words and my experience to be sobering for someone else that may have a hard experience, that you can have a hard experience with one entity, but it's not the collective. And so I had to write about very situational moments that is not a depiction of the totality of who we are. But I say that to say, it took me some time to get to the place where I wanted to be that vulnerable. But I would read back my draft and I would say, but this isn't honest. It's only half true. In everything that I do, I operate in my fullness of truth, because I think that's how God gets the greatest glory. And so I had to say, are you gonna write a safe book, or are you gonna write your book? Are you going to allow your own experiences to be a blanket for another person? Or are you gonna let people walk blindly into moments that you have survived? And I wrestle with those questions. And what I came out of, I was like, I have to write the most authentic book possible, because the only reason why I'm before you all today, the only reason why I've been able to be a successful business owner and the incredible things that I've been able to do in my life is because I operate in full authenticity of who I am. So this book was going to shrink if I shrank, and I needed this book to be expansive.
I don't know if we're gonna make it through this, okay? All right? No, we're not gonna cry. I want to, I don't know if you and your agent have talked about the next book idea, but
she's already on me, y'all.
I mean, this model that you've given for writing with truth.
Yes.
For all of us writers in the room, it is a terrifying thing to do. Telling the truth is hard, and it's scary, and it's painful. But to your point, there's a mission behind these pages, and it's not just for Dr. Key to do book talks and signings. There is a liberation model here. There are life-saving strategies, very honestly, here, and depending on the season that you are in personally, it sets you free. It sets you free. No, thank you. I want to talk a little bit about something else that you challenge and set me free, right? Like, as part of this, I was reading on an airplane at a certain time, and I know the person next to me was gonna ring the bell and ask for another seat, because I was like, oh my God. Yes, right? Like, I probably bumped elbows a little bit too much. But this moment of challenging this isolation that masquerades as strength, which is bound up in the title. No one is self-made. We can give some context to that, but you break it down for us, so it is always and forever broken, and you allow for it to rest and emanate from the Black female experience, which I think is necessary and equitable. But this notion, we have bought into this narrative, and we have, well-meaning, but this narrative that in our isolation, in our superwoman, in our taking on everything, in our mule of the world, that somehow that makes us stronger, somehow that makes us powerful. But what we know, because the statistics show, it kills us, very literally. So you challenge that concept and that narrative, and I want you to talk about the process of doing that, the necessity of doing that, and share maybe just a little bit about how you rebut this notion that we have to carry everything on our own in order to be valuable.
And I have to honor the late and forever great Bell Hooks. Because in Bell Hooks being liberated, she liberated me. All About Love transformed my thinking patterns around what does it mean to be an evolved Black woman? What does it mean to love even the things that our parents got wrong, but to see the love in their choices? But also this concept of the strong Black woman, or even the strong Black man, or the strong person. Also, shout out to Erykah Badu for Bag Lady.
Okay, you gonna miss your bus.
Yeah. Carrying out on bags like that.
Right.
So I had to humanize all the women that I love most. Because by giving them dignity in this book, that's my mother, may she rest in peace. That's my grandmothers, who right there in North Mississippi, one 87, one getting ready to turn 84. I had to, when I was writing about this level of liberation, they were the only people that I saw in my mind. I imagined who they would be if they were just a little bit more free. I imagine the type of women that and they are incredible in their own right. They're the reason why I sit here. But imagine if they didn't feel the pressure of having to be and hold and anchor and ground all the things. What does it look like to have the freedom of your own imagination? What does it look like to exist within the guardrails of all the societal pressures that are inflicted upon you every single day? I think it puts our dreams into a capsule and they're stuck, because we're stuck. And so this letter, this particular part of the book was a sense of a plea for every woman out there who looks like me, who don't look like me, and even men, I love y'all too. But in this particular story, in this particular level of freedom, I just know as a Black woman, so many people prop us up because they have bored us down. We don't need both. Let us be free and prop us up. Don't give us all your things and say, look how strong you are. We know we strong. You don't have to keep proving it to us by keep adding things to our plate. And I also wanted to empower Black women in this writing to question, but why are you carrying all the things? Is your worthiness in all the bags that you carry? Is your identity because you have all the titles? Because our identity is not wrapped up in those titles. Our identity is wrapped up in the light that we individually possess. And so by asking those questions, I'm hoping, and I put reflection questions at the end of every chapter, forever a teacher, but I put reflection questions at the end of every chapter because I want us to go deep. Root cause analysis determines who we are. The roots say what is going to come from that fruit from the tree. And so that level of isolation that I know I have existed in, friends have existed in, people that I love, we were not meant to exist in isolation. We're communal people. The collective is where the power exists. But I wanted to address these things in a way that was warm and loving. Because I don't think we need any other books that shout at us. I think we get yelled at a lot already. So what I wanted the writing to do was be soothing, because I hoped it called in allowing us to be a little bit more gentle with ourselves, even gentle with the bags that we carry, but also to be very aware that we deserve something more.
Like these deep pauses are necessary, right? Y'all processing? I was even taken with the intention, everything is thoughtful, but the intentionality around the image on the cover, and when you all get your copy and get it signed by Dr. Key, you can enjoy it as well. A little commercial.
I like that plug. Y'all get the book.
We are intentional, right? But, right, like this cycle that it demonstrates, it makes me think about this notion that you put forth of legacy not only being what we inherit. And you spoke a little bit about that, right? Our mamas and our grandmamas and granddaddies and uncles and aunties carried so much, and sometimes that's passed down, and that's all the inheritance you have. But also this notion of legacy moving forward in what you seed and what you plant. So speak more about the seeding that you intentionally wove into these pages and what you hope your readers seed or encouraged to seed after that.
My biggest goal for this book is that I hope I seed that you have seeds to plant. You have seeds to cultivate. You have seeds to nurture. And that you will experience the fruit of those seeds in this lifetime. But if you nurture the seeds well enough, the generations that come after us would sit under the shade from our harvest. That's how expansive I'm dreaming now. I also write in this book having a vision 200 years from now. And I ask you all, have you thought about your legacy 200 years from now? Those are the type of seeds that I'm planting. I have no aspiration nor desire to have my seeds die whenever the time comes that I transition. That means I did not live fully, no fruit. And so because of that, I really challenge us to begin to think about what we are currently nurturing, what we are fostering, and how will it outlive us. And this book is an integration of some of my favorite historical figures. I love Fannie Lou Hamer. It's my favorite of all the favorites. And so I had to center her in this writing. And I centered many other incredible ancestors in this writing. But I also wrote about modern day leaders. I did that because sometimes we refer to history, and we can't see who's presently in front of us. And so we have to have both gazes. where we have to look back, but we also need to see what is happening. So I center people who are doing work with the hope of saying, historically, we've been doing this. Present day, we're still doing this. And I even write about young folks. And y'all, when we a little bit older, just a little bit,
Just a little bit.
they gonna be doing this. But I'm hoping what I ignite into you when you all read this book is that your life is just as prolific as the people that I wrote about in this book. That is what's so beautiful about purpose. You don't have to be on a stage. You don't have to write a book. You don't have to do all these things. Is it nice? Yes. But it doesn't, somebody else's trajectory is no more important than yours because they're on a stage. That we were all appointed and assigned with a divine intention on our lives. And I'm hoping this book nudges you just a little bit to say, what was the intention of my creation? Why am I really here? What is meant to come from me? What is the gift that is going to live from me? Because energy does not die, it simply transforms. What would be transformed if we start to ask ourselves, what was the intention of my creation? And what's the seed that I am going to nurture? We wrestle with these questions and they make us very, very uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. But purpose doesn't always feel like that blanket. Purpose will antagonize you because life is meant to be well lived. Yeah. And we're meant to be expansive.
It pulls at you.
It pulls at you. It knows.
The thing that wakes you up.
Yes.
You go to sleep thinking about it. It's the thing that terrifies you the most.
Yes.
To approach. But what a blessing to have an attack, to be tethered to something meaningful.
May I say something?
Please.
For a movie that I'm sure we all have seen? Do you all remember in The Color Purple? Mm-hmm. And I believe it's Suge Avery. Suge Avery, when she was singing about, she was slumbering through the night. And she just felt like God was trying to tell her something. That is exactly what Ebony was just speaking of. Those 3 o'clock mornings when your mind just on. It's like, why I can't sleep? Or when you go to work, you be like, yeah, this cool. It's all right job, but I feel like I'm supposed to be doing something else. Mm-hmm. Or you're around people who are doing their things and you're very proud of them. But something about them doing their thing and you not doing your thing is holding a mirror up to you. To be like, so why you not doing your thing, sis? Mm-hmm. Why you not doing your thing? That is what Suge Avery was singing about in The Color Purple. That is that awakening that happens when purpose keeps happening, making us uncomfortable, keeps holding us accountable, that there is an appointment on our lives. If I did not write this book, I'll be still looking at the ceiling at 3 o'clock in the morning because there was an assignment for me to produce this first thing. If I did not launch my first company 10 years ago, and remember I was an educator. If I did not start the Village Market 10 years ago in Atlanta, I don't know if I will be sitting before you today as an author. I had to be obedient to the assignment 10 years ago so the purpose of my life can continue to be illuminated. But we have to be obedient when the assignment comes. And I write about assignments in this book. I write about the assignment of when I was teaching at Callaway High School in Jackson. I made it 1 year, y'all.
It's longer
I
than
love
some.
Callaway. But this is shortly after I graduated from Tougaloo, but I was teaching at Callaway. And I tell this story in the book, so I'm gonna only give you a snippet of it. But I want to tell you about assignments. I had to work at Callaway because by me working at Callaway, I met a woman, Mrs. Frances Etheridge, who was my neighboring teacher across the hallway, next door to me. Miss E and I formed a beautiful relationship. And we started to play tennis after school, and I won't tell her this, y'all, but she beat me every time. I was like, how this lady beat me? but she beat me every time. But one evening, she was like, Hallmon, you need to take your special education certification exam. I was teaching honors and AP English at Callaway. She's like, you do very well at that, but I need you to take the certification exam. She's like, I think you have a gift of being able to nurture and relate to kids who feel very insecure about their learnings. And I was like, Miss E, I don't really think that's what I'm supposed to do. Mm-hmm. I am an AP and honors English teacher.
That's what I do.
Yes, that's what I do, Miss E. And she was like, Hallmon, I need you to take this exam. Now, I told you I was raised North Mississippi, so when the elders speak, what we do?
You jump. Right, exactly. Yes, ma'am.
It's yes, ma'am. I signed up for the exam. So, took the exam, and I told Miss E, I said, I think I'm supposed to move to Atlanta. She's like, you think so? I said, yeah, I think I'm supposed to move to Atlanta. So I've been being called and being pushed there. And also, when my mother was living, my mother said, you need to go to Atlanta. You're supposed to do something special. You are special. I don't know what it is, but it's not going to happen in Mississippi. You just can't forget Mississippi. Mm-hmm. And Miss E said, well, you feel like you need to go to Atlanta. I want you to go ahead and do it. So I started to apply for jobs. Could not get a call back anywhere. Mm-hmm. And finally, I got a call from South Cobb High School. Came to Georgia, nailed the interview. I remember getting in the car, calling my mom. I was like, I know this is my job. Spoke to the principal that day. He was like, you did so well. We would be so honored to have you at at South Cobb. And the next day, he called back and he's like, I'm so sorry, I can't offer you the job. Someone with more seniority than you wants to be transferred to South Cobb. And I was like, so what does that mean? He was like, well, how it works here is that seniority and transfers trump any new teacher. So essentially, I have to rescind this verbal offer that I made to you yesterday. I was so disappointed. And he was like, but if you have a certification in special ed, I can offer you a job.
Come on, Miss E.
Y'all, the week before, I had gotten my results from my exam, and I had passed. And I was like, actually, as of last week, I do. And I was able to take the job, move to Atlanta, start my business eventually, and the rest is history. But I go back to life assignments. I had to teach at Callaway. Yes, Miss E had to be my neighbor next door, because how the message comes through, it is delivered to a person that you can hear and see. I could see and hear and loved Miss E. So she is the person that was like, I need you to do this. She had to be the deliverer. Yeah. But I had to be obedient to the assignment of also giving Callaway all that I had, because I do not think we go to places and leave them empty. Mm-hmm. The goal is to leave places like, if you ever want to come back, I got you. Mm-hmm. So I had to complete that assignment at Callaway, but I had to take that exam, because that is the only job offer that I got in Georgia. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I write about instances like that in the book, about the obedience of following the assignment. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I write about these moments, because I have several moments that's gonna blow your mind, that even led me out the classroom to work at the Georgia Department of Education, even how that happened. But you gotta read the book.
Gotta read the book. No more spoilers.
No more spoilers. But that was a good one. I hope y'all like that one.
Great one.
But I write about these moments because I know in my own life and in the lives of my friends and my family, we sometimes feel that we're just at a place to be at a place. Mm. And it doesn't feel like there's any purpose there. But what I'm calling in this book is that if you're there, there's a sense of purpose there. And so when we're in places, and we don't necessarily want to be, and I'll always speak to careers, but what is the gift that job can give you that can appoint you to your highest self and where you're meant to be? We can't get it if we don't fulfill the assignment there.
And if you don't do it well.
Yeah, you have to do it well and with integrity.
With integrity.
Mm-hmm.
My God. I hope what you all are doing is the same thing that I'm doing, right? Like thinking about being more intentional in the access that we all have to somebody, some community. And I love this concept of there are no wasted moments.
Oh, no.
And so we often feel stagnant, right? But that's an opportunity to contribute. And who knows how many people's assignments you contribute to that we may never know about. You certainly have contributed to mine and the rest of us when you all read this work. One of the takeaways, and do you all hear that this is not an entrepreneurship book?
Right.
You know, in the least, and that's not a slight. It is, I think, a miraculous feat that you've packaged it in this way, but it is accessible to a larger community. One of the most significant takeaways that I had was this connection between care and the collective. And we talked a little bit about, right, the sort of disavowal of support and help that we are socialized to adopt because you look weak if you need help. But what you do is flip that on its head, and you underscore, right, that not only do we all need help, if that's the case, then we need each other.
Yes.
We need the community. We need the collective. I would love for you to kind of speak into that concept. That there, because self-care, you break down and indict this newfangled model of self-care, which has come to mean like spa gift cards, and I love a good mani-pedi, right? But it's not very caring for me because I have to pay for it. So this notion of self-care that's accessible.
Right.
I underscored that, highlighted it, asterisks all out to the side. The access of care. Matters, and this is not a spoiler, so don't give it all away.
Okay,
but can you just speak on that concept, because I think it is unfortunately novel.
So I'll speak on two things, but don't let me forget to answer this. But there's something that I wanted to underpin in this book about the notion of individualism. Individualism, rugged individualism, is a very westernized American construct. It makes you think and center yourself on all things. In business, in politics, civics, it's always about a singular person. What I challenge in this book is that individualism has led to the decay of our community. The more we cling to self, the more we undo our relationship with each other. And so the reason why I had to write about that is because I can't say, let's build a village, if I do not challenge what is antagonizing the village. A self-centered approach, this level of individualism, hoarding personal wealth, is hurting our communities. I also write about, and this has made people very uncomfortable on the tour, just FYI, as had the title, but I like that.
Really?
I've in the
Shake
business
it up,
world.
then. I love that.
Yeah, in the business world, people are not happy with the title of my book. But I love it. I'd be like, how mad are you? How many people help you? And when I throw that question back at them, they'd be like, well, I'm not self-made. Absolutely not. We're a reflection of a village. But in writing about this level of individualism, I also challenge the concept of self-made millionaires who do nothing for community. We don't need any more wealth amassed by people that's just going to hoard it for their own estates. It does nothing for our community. And so I write about this in the book because if we do not start to deconstruct the economic flow that we control and say that as a people, we are following a toxic construct and repeating the same infliction of harm that was perpetuated upon us, if we do not understand that we're operating from the same tool, our communities will continue to be stifled. And I had to punch it head on. That's also just my personality. Because I want us to amass wealth. I want us all to live well in abundance. Wealth gives us opportunity. It also gives us the opportunity to say no as many times as we like.
Boundaries create freedom.
Yes. But if we think about our own economic liberation for our own family and do not think about the beloved community that Dr. Martin Luther King centered and the late Congressman Lewis centered, this beloved community, then the wealth was in vain. We amass wealth and resources so we can be resourceful, not just for not just for you to be put on by yourself. And so I challenge that. And I'm saying the reason why I'm mentioning this, and I'm gonna go to self-care, the reason why I'm mentioning this is because I also hope that I'm challenging you. I hope that the dream for your own life, that when you close your eyes, you see your gifts flowing to other people. I hope that you see the wealth that you amass, that you already have some organizations that you're going to make sure that you fund. If you are an alumni of an institution that was good to you, I hope that you see that the responsibility of the wealth and the access should go back to that institution so it can flow to the next generation. So what I'm challenging here is that we all have a responsibility. If we want the community that we desire, if we want to have a sense of economic liberation, we have to be different players. That doesn't absolve accountability for systemic and systematic racism. I write about that in the book. But I also was very clear in this book to, with love, tell us that we also have power. And the power really lies in our mindsets and then what we do with that with our choices. So I hope with love I just pushed you a little bit more. Because I'm always going to push myself in that way to make sure that I'm centering the village in all my blessings. And then to talk about self-care. And probably all the self-care girls was mad at me in this part too. But I love them. And a lot of my friends are self-care girls. But there's a sense of this wellness industry that has been commodified in such a way that has become inequitable.
You can't afford to care for yourself.
That the only way that you can be well, you need an infinity pool. Or you need like a $75 candle. You need to be in Bali. You got to catch a flight. And you need a spa day. And do understand, I had a good time in Hawaii self-caring. Okay, so it's like, let's be clear. But I'm also very clear, and that's what I write about in this book. If you all can do something for me just really quickly, if you can take a deep inhale in really quickly, slow exhale out, we just regulated our nervous system for free. We can access that breath and center ourselves without having to swipe a card, without having to book a flight, without having to afford an infinity pool, and buy a $75 candle. That the beauty that God has blessed us with is that he's given us a perfect canvas in nature. He's given us the breath that goes in and out of our bodies. He's given us the ability to hug other people and to be held. He's given us a moment that we can laugh hard and deep till the tears come out. He also gave us the freedom to cry. And it's all without expense. So I write about self-care in this way because I know the way that it has been commodified, that you feel that you have to arrive to a place to be well. And the only place that you have to arrive to be well is the choice to choose it every single day. And the willingness to not be moved until things move from your spirit and you become just a little bit more free.
Thank you. No. Thank you. We're partners in this. I want to ask one more question and then open it to our village here. To join the conversation. This book, it has no genre, which I think is beautiful. It's post-genre, okay? Because it achieves so many things. And one of those things I think is to potentially guide those who will, right? Those who have ears, right? And ears to hear, eyes to see into this freer existence, this more balanced space that's necessary to follow the assignment. We hear a lot of understanding the assignment, but just to understand it isn't enough. You have to take a step once the C parts, right? Yes. And go across. And so I would love for you to talk to us about what your village looks like in this season, and also provide some more nuggets of wisdom as to how we are intentional about our villages and curating that very necessary component to achieve that liberation model that you described.
And thank you for that question. So let's talk about what my village looks like right now. Y'all, I have an all-star team around me. I feel so fortunate. Like just this morning, I talked to my grandmother today, laughing with her, and she was like, "Where you at again?" I was like, "In Jackson." Now she mad that I'm in Jackson, y'all, and not in Marks, Mississippi. So she not too pleased with y'all right now because I can't go visit. I go back home.
Blame us.
Yeah, blame y'all. Blame y'all. But my grandmothers, my dad is my favorite person that I talk to. I think he is brilliant. I think he is special. And so I get on a call with him and it doesn't feel time bound. And so he is by far my favorite. He's also my favorite thinker. He's a Mississippi man. Y'all already know what I mean with that. Mississippi man. And I and I love that in him. And I love that because of him. Yeah. But also I have a beautiful friend group. I'm a super proud auntie of 3 beautiful nephews. And y'all, I take great pride in being that auntie.
Auntie status.
Now, do understand, I'm the only auntie. So my job is still to be the best.
That's right.
But I'm the only auntie. And I take so much pride in being their aunt. It's something, I'm deeply intentional with all my relationships. But with my nephews, with them being young black boys, brilliant and beautiful and special, and a clear reflection of God's grace and mercy, I mold them with the most delicate, freeing hands because I want them to supersede anything, the greatness that they always tell me they see in me. I was like, this is a watered down version of who you're gonna become. And I take so much pride in that because I think we have to speak into young people. We have to speak to them in such a way that they dream just a little bit more vividly, and they have to know that it's possible. But my friend group, I have my company, so I have a great team. Some days as the CEO of a company, it is not easy. I write about that in the book. It's a lot of pressure. It's also a lot of pressure when your team looks up to you. And so, because when people look up to you and you still got to tell them no, that hurts their feelings. So I've had to work through that. But my team is also just deeply, deeply, I feel blessed that they said yes to my vision. And I hope other CEOs and entrepreneurs understand that it is an honor when people come, not work for us, but work with us. Like I hope we like walk in that, even when they get on our nerves. This is an honorable nerve moment that you just hit, because I just don't take it for granted. I just wanted to build the type of company and to treat people the way that I've wanted to be treated, with a great level of dignity. And in the book, I write about like how do we build our village, and then from the entrepreneurial sense, I write about how to build your team. And this is what I leave you all with before we go into question and answer. You've heard this a lot. I want you to hear it again from me today. We cannot be intimidated by people who have different gifts than us. We shouldn't be intimidated. We shouldn't be envious. We should be celebrating that they are gifted, but have a knowing within yourself that you too are gifted. And the beautiful thing about diversity is that we need all the superpowers to join together. And so get you some people who are smarter than you in some things. They need to be a part of your friend group. I also write about the importance, and this is who my sister is to me, it's very important for you to have people in your life who clap for you. Mm-hmm. My sister, and I write about her in the book, biggest cheerleader in my life, my older sister. Y'all, she think I walk on water. And if y'all tell her the same, she be like, my sister walk on water. It's not true. But that is how she sees me. And in some of my tough days, I know that if I call her, I can be radically honest about how I feel, but her spirit gonna put me back together again, and she's gonna remember, like, you are that girl, and I need you to know that. So I want you all to have people around you. When you are feeling weak, they're not asking you to put on some muscles to be strong. They're like, girl, I got you in reserve. I'm your strength. I'm your muscle today. I just need you to go lay in the bed or go out there and hug a tree. That's what I do. But you don't have to be, but you don't have to be strong. Yeah. You also have to have in your village people who are also honest. Mm-hmm. My friend Danielle is likely the most honest person in my life, so I gotta be ready for that conversation because she's gonna tell me the truth, if I want to hear it or not. But those people who are honest with us, I call them observers in the book. They're the ones that's reading the room, reading the situation, and you know not to make eye contact with them because they're making a face. But they already have read everybody.
Getting us all in trouble.
Because they're assigned to be in protection of your light. So you gotta have some observers, people that wanna protect your light. And we don't always wanna hear them. I called Danielle last, y'all. I called her last, because I was like, I don't wanna hear this today. But I know that she means me well, because she's on assignment to protect me. So those are a few of the nuggets that I write about in the book. And I have more practical things as well with building your team or building your village. And I also write about village values, because one thing that I believe to be in community, we do not have to think the same, and we shouldn't. Mm-hmm. We should be comfortable with people who challenge us and who disagree with the way that we think. How else will we expand the way that we live and exist? So we don't need groupthink in community, but what we do need, and what I write about, is a grave sense of values that are similar and a level of respect for each other. Because without respect and values, it's just an argument. But when respect and values there, it's listening and it's also being heard. And I think what comes from that is the best of what that moment was meant to be. And so as we build community, I don't think we always have to isolate people who may not always saying yes to everything that we say. We don't need a lot of fans. We need people who are authentic, who we challenge and who challenges us.
It is good. It is good. I want to open it up for a couple of questions before we close our conversation, and I'll head out to the signing tent with our copy of No One is Self-Made. Questions from the village.
Yes, sir. May I have your name? Hi. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow.
I was so inspired by that closing that I then went to my dissertation and changed like my acknowledgement section to be certain of whose I was.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Then,
here we go.
inside of my dissertation, initially I was using Grandma Vetter's weak ties, strong ties theory, which is about the fact that people with strong ties don't help us as much as people who we sometimes happen to have like a weak connection with. Right?
Wow.
I have to and lineage, family, that I'm talking to my wife about, helped me build a question that I gave to Anika Gurki today this morning at 9:30. And so I came here to be sure that I needed to buy this book, and now I am already sure.
Yeah.
But also to give you that
Sure.
part of my assignment
Wow.
that shows truth to power that by you standing in your assignment at that 50th anniversary,
Wow.
you have touched and changed someone
Wow.
who wasn't even aware there.
Wow.
And so I would give that to us all as some reasoning to go do what I'm going to do.
Wow.
Buy 2 copies.
Wow. Wow.
Ready for you, Dr. Woods. You know that, right? We're ready for you.
I have to defend it again later on.
Yes.
The work is still going, but
You got this, Dr. Woods.
That's right.
You got this.
It is finished.
And thank you.
Yeah. Let's see. We had a gentleman back there and then right up front. Gentleman in the baseball cap.
how long do you think it would take for us to go from like the individual stage
Good question.
to the mind state? How long do you think that would take?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you have already gotten there?
We are not there. Yeah. Glad we're going to church tomorrow because I don't want to be doomsday.
Yeah.
So I'll try to answer this honestly, but also with the lens of hope, because that's what I wrote this book for. We're not there. I think we're probably the most disconnected than we've ever been. That level of disconnection is happening because of the mass distraction that has overcome us. I think things like the overuse of social media, the more time we spend within a box, the less time we're in person like this, it pulls us away from each other. I think the more that this country celebrates self-made millionaires and never put their team on the cover of a magazine, never ask them who are the people that sharpen the iron within them, because we are only here because somebody has sharpened us.
Yes.
And we've had to do our own personal sharpening as well. But we're a reflection of somebody else just sharpening us, wanting us to go and be. But the more we center singular achievement and less about all the things that makes a person successful, the more disconnected we're going to be. The more that we do not challenge media for the decaying of our consciousness, the things that we overly consume that is harmful to the psyche of our community, the more that we don't challenge that and see that it is harmful, the more we're going to be disconnected. And what I believe, though, that if person by person choose our own awakening, and the people that's close to you see your awakening, and someone says, there's something about you different. What you been doing? What you been doing? What you been doing? And then we just share what we've been doing, and just share it from a place of choosing not to tell them what they're not doing, but just sharing what we are doing. I think people become curious. It's like, I need a little bit of that. And then the next person becomes awakened because you were awakened. Then the next person becomes awakened because they were awakened. And I think when we look up, person by person, if we choose to have a level of spiritual awakening of our mind and an elevated consciousness, we're going to look up, and there's going to be a collective consciousness that has cascaded across our communities. And the vibration of our community will be so heightened that the next generation will only read about our struggles from history books. And they won't know it because we chose. Here.
So I want to be cognizant of time, so we do have so Dr. Key has time to get to the signing.
And I'll be
tent.
short in my responses. There we go.
So we'll take right here on the front
1, 2,
here.
3.
Who you got?
Right here.
1,
blue.
2,
3.
3.
Him.
So short questions, short answers. Are we in agreement, community?
Yes.
All right.
Very admirable about what you've done. Just admire all of what you've done. But the coffee shop experience in the book, how did you feel when people just really started showing up to trust the process of what you
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yes, and I got to be brief, but you asked me a question that's not brief. So when I first got started with the Village Market, everything started from a coffee shop. I wanted at that time, I was listening to so many entrepreneurs saying that they didn't have community, they didn't have money, they didn't have community, and they did not know how to start a business. And I'm listening to this, and at this time I was a researcher for the Department of Ed, Georgia Department of Ed, and I was like, the data is pointing to the same space, that people feel alone and isolated. Y'all, with no entrepreneur experience, I woke up one night in the middle of the night and it's like, I think I'm supposed to build a village for entrepreneurs. My friend owned a coffee shop, my friend Cassandra, and we played tennis together. And so I went to see Cassandra. I was like, hey, if I beat you today at tennis, because I know I could, if I beat you today at tennis, can I use your coffee shop once a month? I got this series that I'm starting called It Takes a Village. And she was like, sure, Key, that's fine. She was like, so what is it going to be about? I said, it's going to be for people like you who started companies, but you needed a village. And at this time, I knew a handful of people in Atlanta. So I need y'all to know, I have a social media platform. None of the things that we feel like we need to start an idea. I'm on my bike. I ride my bike everywhere. I'm on my bike telling people, you gotta come to Urban Grind. This is about to be amazing. You're an entrepreneur, you need to come. I'm building a village. Y'all, the very first event, and I want you to keep in mind, no social media. The social capital that I have in Atlanta now, the boards that I serve on, working closely with our mayor, none of this was in existence, okay? I got there, and then for a moment, I was like, wait, what if nobody come but me and Cassandra and my friends? I was like, that's fine. I looked up, and there was a line outside the door. Line to the point that we had overflow outside of the coffee shop. And all of that was January 2016, and my company now has accumulated $10 million in direct sales to businesses, millions of grants, $1 million of grants, endless services. I've done programs in South Africa, you name it. But everything started in this idea that I couldn't shake. And I started at a coffee shop with none of the things that people say you need to do. And I was so overcome in that moment. It was the biggest yes from the universe of like, go forth, child, go forth. And I didn't look back. Mm-hmm.
So I want to apologize because I'm charged with keeping you on schedule.
I'm so sorry.
But join Dr. Key at the signing tent. That is where she will be next. I want to thank you, dear sister, for this roadmap. For reminding us that we, as Gwendolyn Brooks said, we are each other's harvest. You hooked me with that, and I locked in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please join Dr. Key at the signing tent. Go ahead and make that line around the corner like there was at Urban Grind. And if you didn't get your question answered,
I can answer.
Yep, she's devoted to answering that for you as
before
well.
you leave, can you give a big warm of thanks to Dr. Ebony Lumumba? And I'll see y'all out there.